There is a specific kind of fear that has no name in English, but that every parent who has ever lost sight of their child in a crowded place for 30 seconds understands immediately and completely. That fear, amplified to the scale of weeks, then months, multiplied by the additional horror of not knowing whether the missing person chose to disappear, is the engine of one of the most powerful and most literary psychological thrillers in Australian fiction. And in late 2026, Brad Pitt and Edward Berger are going to bring it to the cinema screen in a film called The Riders. And based on everything confirmed about this production, it may be the most important film Brad Pitt has made since Fight Club. Let us begin with the source material, because Tim Winton's novel is the foundation of everything. The Riders was published in 1994. It was shortlisted for the Man Booker Prize in 1995, one of the most prestigious literary honours in the English language, and it has been described by critics as the novel where Winton's writing reached its full power. The story follows Fred Scully, an Australian who moves his family to rural Ireland to start a new life, who sends his wife Jennifer back to Australia to collect their daughter Billie while he renovates their Irish farmhouse. Jennifer never arrives. Billie arrives alone at the airport, traumatized and silent, with no explanation of where her mother went or what happened. And Scully, with only his 7-year-old daughter and zero understanding of what has happened, embarks on a desperate journey across Europe, trying to find a woman who may or may not want to be found. The novel is simultaneously a thriller and a meditation on obsession, on what love becomes when it refuses to accept absence, on the specific question of whether a man chasing a ghost is heroic or insane. And the answer Tim Winton provides is that sometimes it is impossible to tell the difference. Now let us talk about the creative team, because every single element of this production signals a film of the highest possible ambition. Brad Pitt plays Fred Scully. After years of blockbusters and franchise work, after F1 and Wolfs and the Cliff Booth adventures, Brad Pitt is choosing The Riders as his prestige statement. The novel's protagonist is one of the most psychologically demanding roles in contemporary Australian literature, a man who oscillates between genuine heroism and genuinely terrifying obsession, whose love for his family is both the most admirable thing about him and the thing that makes him dangerous. It is the kind of role that wins awards and changes how an audience understands what an actor is capable of. And Pitt, at 62, with everything his career and his personal life have taught him about the complexity of human relationships, is the exact right age to play it. The director is Edward Berger. And if that name does not immediately produce a physical response in you, then you have not yet seen All Quiet on the Western Front, the 2022 German-language anti-war film that won 4 Academy Awards, including Best International Feature, that produced the most devastating final 20 minutes in any film of that decade, and that announced Berger as one of the most important directors working in world cinema. His follow-up was Conclave, the 2024 papal election thriller that earned 8 Academy Award nominations and proved that All Quiet was not a one-film wonder, but the introduction of a filmmaker with the most refined visual intelligence currently operating in prestige cinema. Berger does not make comfortable films. He makes films that stay with you for years after the credits have rolled. And The Riders, with its European locations and its psychological intensity and its Booker shortlisted source material, is precisely the kind of project that a director of his stature should be making next. The screenplay is by David Kajganich, whose screen credits include A Bigger Splash, the Suspiria remake, and The Terror. making him one of the most sophisticated literary adapters working in American cinema today. The production companies assembled for this film represent a genuinely extraordinary convergence of prestige power: Brad Pitt's Plan B, Jeremy Kleiner and Dede Gardner, Edward Berger's 9 Hours, and Ridley Scott's Scot Free. Ridley Scott as a producer on a psychological thriller adapted from a Booker shortlisted Australian novel, directed by the man who made All Quiet on the Western Front, is one of the most exciting creative combinations in any single film's production credits in recent memory. Production began in early 2026, shooting across multiple European locations: Ireland, where the novel's first act is set; Greece and Amsterdam, where Scully's desperate search takes him. The specific geography of Tim Winton's novel faithfully rendered. Julianne Nicholson plays Jennifer, the missing wife. The role is extraordinary, precisely because it requires an actress to embody absence, to be present enough in the early sections of the story that her disappearance genuinely haunts the rest of the film, and present enough in Scully's obsessive imagination throughout that the audience never quite knows how much of what they are seeing is real and how much is delusion. Nicholson, whose career has been defined by the specific ability to suggest enormous emotional depth in very few scenes, is perfectly cast. And young Coco Greenstone plays Billie, the 7-year-old daughter who knows something she is not saying. The most difficult kind of child performance in cinema, because the audience must believe in her trauma without understanding its source. The release date is December 24th, 2026, Christmas Eve. A film about a man searching for his missing wife across Europe with his traumatized daughter, opening on Christmas Eve, is either the most beautifully ironic distribution decision of the year or a deliberate artistic statement about the specific loneliness that the holiday season makes visible in ways that normal life conceals. Either way, from Edward Berger, it is almost certainly intentional. The man who ended All Quiet on the Western Front at 11 o'clock on the morning of November 11th, 1918, the last moment of the First World War, does nothing by accident. The Riders is coming. And based on everything confirmed about this film, the prestige cinema event of Christmas 2026 has arrived in the most unexpected shape possible.